Please call the roll.
Alderman Cadella.
Here.
Alderman Knipe. Alderman Coles.
Here.
Alderman Lewiton.
Here.
Alderman Police.
Here.
Alderman Shockey.
Here.
Alderman Wesley.
Here.
Alderman Winger.
I declare a quorum present. First item that come before us is the approval of the committee minutes of our last meeting of April 26th. Is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have two matters scheduled to consider this evening. The first item is an informational report on the Wooddale Station condominiums. I think Mr. John Forrest will lead us through it, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is an update actually on this informational-only memo. It appears as though all the closings that were originally scheduled for the end of the month have been pushed back about 2 weeks for a variety of reasons. They need some extra time to finish the building. There's some final paperwork that needs to be completed and reviewed by the city attorney. And, we've been in close contact with the builders. Staff is going over tomorrow for the first round of actual final inspections of the condominium units and the retail store area that they have finished off that they're going to be using for their sales office. And again, I had a meeting with Maurice Gagliano this afternoon, and as soon as the sales office is moved out of the Giorgio's building, they're prepared to demo the Giorgio's building, completely clear all the debris off the site that's been accumulating during the construction of the first building. They will then finish the stormwater system on the Giorgio's property in preparation for the last two buildings, and then they'll be in a position to begin the second building. Other than that, any other questions?
I do have one question about the retail stores.
Yes.
Am I understanding correctly that they're talking about putting medical centers in there instead of retail?
From what I understand, for better or for worse, the most interest that they've gotten in this first building is from Alexian Brothers, who has approached them about taking, I believe, the entire first floor of the first building for medical center use, correct?
So the second and third buildings aren't designated yet for anything
No.
on the first floor?
No.
Okay. Is there any member of the committee who wishes to ask Mr. Alderman Wesley?
Yes, I have a couple of questions here. Obviously, the first building, we don't have any say-so into the retailing of that because obviously we heard that it may be a doctor's office. My concern now with building 2 and 3 is a retailing on that. You know what, they have not provided us any documents saying that they did go out to the market and see what was out there, okay? My concern is that was an agreement that was upon us when we approved this project, that there was gonna be retail of that understanding. The other concern I have here, to take occupancy for that building is the new fire pump. John, is a new fire pump in there that's its capacity? I understand that building was also put in a wrong fire pump at the time.
Correct. The original fire pump that they ordered was too small. And I did get a letter from the fire pump contractor on Monday, I believe. The fire pump is ordered. It's in the process of being assembled, and they expect it to be on site within a couple of weeks.
So,
Go ahead.
okay, so my question is, are you looking still, when are they looking to take occupancy of this building down the line? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Approximately 2 weeks.
So the fire pump will be in place before they take occupancy?
If the fire pump's not in place, and again, this is allowable per the code, as long as the fire department connection is hooked up and accessible for the fire district, what they can do is the fire pump is basically to supply adequate water pressure to the standpipe system, of which there's a standpipe system in each required exit stairway. The standpipe system is what the fire department will use once they get inside the building for the handheld hoses. What we can do temporarily until the fire pump is installed and approved, as long as the fire department pumper can hook up to the fire department connection, it will be able to supply an adequate supply of water to the standpipes. The suppression system for the entire building is a separate system. that will be operational prior to any occupancies being issued.
Okay. May I do a follow-up, please?
Please do.
The other questions I have concern is the water detention for that property. You did say in here that it will be completed when the other phase of the buildings are done. I'm just saying that you just said that,
All right, yes. What they did, the first building is basically built on the old Wooddale Electric property. So they do have the underground storage system is in place for that section of the building.
so, you don't have to go anymore. So there is coverage for that first building?
Yes.
That's all I want to know. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions or comments? If none, that item was for information only. The next items are to be considered at future meetings. Number one is the RFP for zoning code rewrite and zoning map revisions. That's scheduled for June 14th. The model ordinance requiring community antenna television system by obtaining franchises. That's to be done by the city attorney. Item C is a B4 zoning district to be determined by the ZBA. We don't have a date on that yet, do we? I'm sorry? So we can probably figure this for sometime in July.
If everything goes according, yes.
Okay. And then D, changes to ZBA procedures scheduled for 9/13/07. Do we have any kind of a hint of what's that, why is that on there? What is that about? Who requested it?
Sure. This will really kind of be going hand in hand with the RFP rewrite of the zoning ordinance. With the legislative changes as to how a zoning board hearing is viewed by the courts and everything along that nature, plus with advice from our attorneys, we do need to tweak our procedures a little bit to make sure that we are following the letter of the law to its fullest extent.
Okay, so that's scheduled for September 13th. All right, is there any other business? Alderman Wesley.
I'd like to add two items on the agenda if possible. One will be the bond, posting the bond for minor issues. I have talked to John, and John feels that that will be ready at the next committee meeting. Am I correct, John? And then the other thing I'd like to be brought up is I'd like to move on, I really would like to try move it up on the next meeting if possible, apartment buildings being turned over to condos, the ordinance drawn up as soon as possible, due to the fact is that we still have some apartment buildings that could go condos, and it was taken off this agenda that we talked about before when we had the problem with Grove Street Apartments. I want to be able to know that the city's got every right to bring those buildings up to code and everything else. Obviously, something happened in the Grove Street Apartments, and I want to make sure we have control of that if possible, if that could be added on the agenda,
Absolutely.
I believe.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, the
Manager.
attorney's already working on that, and we should have that on the agenda. That's correct. We did discuss this at the staff meeting. They're waiting for the other issue regarding the other condo redevelopment before we bring this forward, but we are working on it as right now.
So we can schedule that again for July, or,
Second committee meeting in June?
But may I interrupt for a minute, Mr. Chairman?
yes.
Is the reason why it's delayed, is it because the Grove Street apartment condo project? Is that the reason, or is there another one that I know about?
I believe that's part of the issue. It's kind of, we need to get that total settled, which it's about settled right now,
Okay.
before we go ahead and pass this.
Okay.
Several communities are doing this, and the city attorney will have a full report, and we should be ready to proceed. It should be on the 28th. That would be the second
That's fine,
committee.
thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And the other item on the posting bond for minor issues would be also the first committee meeting in June? Okay. Is there anything else? the manager or any alderman? If not, there's no more business come before this committee this evening. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
This meeting of the Planning, Zoning, and Building Committee is adjourned.
I'd like to call the Finance Committee to order. Let the minute taker take that the same people are present. I need a motion to approve the April 26, 2007 minutes. Need a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Report and recommendation requesting advertising of pedestrian bike bridge. We received a memo in our packet requesting advertising on our bike bridge. Vendors are making variable requests to learn if the city would even consider such a program. Frank, you want to take this for us, or?
Yeah, sure. What's happened, as you know, there's these new electronic signs and there's additional signage. And we've been approached by several vendors to possibly put one of these up. And my response has been to this point, well, give us a proposal. However, one of these vendors apparently went to one of the aldermen and asked, well, could you just run it by the council to see if they would even consider this before we invested into doing a whole-blown request for proposal and everything like that. And just polling the council, I think some of you might be interested, but there are several that would be totally against it. So to give staff some guidance in this regard, if you're interested in reviewing some of these requests, let me know. We'll say that you're interested. If you're not interested, tell me now, and we'll say, no, we're not going to be doing any kind of additional advertising on the bridge other than community events, for example. They just wanted some clarification in regard to whether you would be interested in doing something with electronic sign on our bridge.
Okay, may I, well, it's fine. Alderman Short.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I'd be happy to do it for a minimum of $100,000 a year. Otherwise, why mess up our city?
Alderman Coles.
Definitely not. You don't want to be driving down Irvin Park and people will be looking at the signs while they're driving. So, I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
Mayor Johnson.
Thank you. Actually, I did bring this up at the time the bridge was being constructed, and as Alderman Cole says, I think the objections came from the chief of police that he thought it would be a safety hazard. It was either that or the engineers that thought that that would be improper.
Well, the thing I have on this, go ahead.
Okay, it appears
Mr.
that staff has the direction, and we will not
Can I
be
give my comments before you make
Oh, we can forget
the
about it.
decision?
I've already been killed by
All right, well, first of all, I don't think any town
No.
has advertised on a bridge unless it's engraved right into the bridge, okay? But I have no problem if a local organization comes forward and needs to put a banner up there temporarily, have no problem of seeing that, like we've done in the past. If a company wants to advertise with a banner for a short period of time, we could look into a fee to hang a banner there just for a short period of time like we do now, like for a week or something, and that's it. Then it comes down to get some money in for that. But me, no. Alderman Joe Coles.
The only thing I can say is the bridge was built by the city of Wooddale. If the city of Wooddale wants to put a banner up that has something to go on about the town or something like a Summerfest or something like that, then they should be able to do that. But any outsiders, no way, no way.
But are you done? My concern is if a Boy Scout comes or a Girl Scout group comes here and Boy Scout wants to advertise their pancake breakfast, it's a nonprofit organization. We're supposed to work together as a city, and I think they should be entitled to do that.
Yeah, but you see,
But I mean, then we shouldn't have our
you're
signs.
talking about two different things. You're talking about an advertisement for a company. You're talking about an organization which the city will back. If the baseball team won and they had a big banner, and they said
Okay.
that would be put up, that would be something
fine.
for Wooddale. all
Okay.
right? But this ain't, like Joe Blow's, business is, giving, free, crab legs today.
Okay,
All right, that's advertising.
that's fine.
All right?
Right, anyone
Let's
else on
forget
that?
about it.
Anyone
Okay.
else? Tell them no. Or whoever it may be. Okay, I didn't want to get on debate like that, but, okay, items considered a future meeting, 2006, 2007 budget amendment. Could I just ask one question? Why do we do a budget amendment for 2006 and 7 when we already into 2007, 2008's budget?
Well, first, we have to do one for last year, because at the end of the year, a lot of things come off of schedule and they enter into the previous year. Also, by the time we did the budget, when the budget was complete, there were a lot of things already that have to be added in, and the budget needs to be amended. For example, the settlement with the union.
Okay,
That's just an example.
okay. Alderman Coles, do you have something on that?
You-
I didn't know that. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Special census, are we doing that or are we not? Or are we just talking about that in the future here? Or who brought that up? Someone,
We're in the process
Okay.
of getting that together, and we'll have complete explanation. Sometimes we're just moving accounts around, and others we are adding or deleting. Sometimes the budget amendment actually deletes things.
no, I'm talking about the special census.
Oh, the special census?
When will that be done or talked about?
We'll give you an update on that.
The whole process has a couple of steps. Right now, we're in the step of researching if it's even worthwhile to do. Basically, what that entails is we gather the information from the last census. We gather what new developments we've had and what new developments we think will be built out by 2010,
Okay.
and we cut a minimal check. I think it costs $200 to apply. Then they give us a cost estimate on how much it would cost for that partial census for those new areas that had developed since the last census. And if that cost is less than the amount of money we would get from the new residents, then we would do it.
Okay,
But if not, and we'll find out shortly.
couple
We haven't
months.
even applied yet. We're going to apply, I think, next week. We're waiting on a check.
couple months then for that project? There
Uh,
wasn't a date for?
No, there's no date. It's a
Okay,
couple months.
that's fine. Tentative financing for early retirement incentive. 2007, 2008 budget amendment. Anything else on the agenda that someone wants to add for future meetings? Mr. Mayor, you have anything there?
Well, thank you for the opening.
Oh, I knew you had something.
No, but it's not on the agenda, but I just want to remind everybody, you got this memo regarding the Memorial Day Parade. And what's not listed here is at the American Legion at 9 a.m., there will be a rededication of the street, naming it as Legion Way, and we're going to have an unveiling service. So you are all invited to that as well.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's fine, but that wasn't items for considered future meeting. Okay. The only other item that I would like to look at is looking at some of the accounts. We got some money down in Springfield. I want to revisit that situation and probably try to move some of that money back here. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Need a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Public Health and Safety Judiciary Committee, roll call as called to order, and roll call is the same as it was last meeting. Approve the minutes of April 26, 2007. I hear a second. Want to pass then?
Yeah.
Okay.
The pass.
What?
All in favor? Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right, that's what I wanted to know. All right. Report and recommendation for ordinance amendment, section 5.402 of the chapter 5 of municipal code of the city of Wooddale to clarify the hours and operations of sellers of liquor, alcohol liquor in the city of Wooddale. I was gonna say Chicago. All right. I would like to make a motion to amend the ordinance of 5.402 of chapter 5 to clarify the text regarding the operation hours of business with liquor licenses as per approved of the city of Wooddale's attorney. Do I have a second?
Second on the question, though.
Okay, question.
I believe there may be some errors in this new ordinance with time slots. I have no problem approving it here at the committee, but I would like since the liquor commissioner is Mayor Johnson, to verify these time slots. I believe some of these may be off. Like a class 0 license, maybe I don't know what all the classes are, and maybe that needs to be brought to the council on the classes are, because I don't know them, okay? Because most liquor license on Sunday is not till 12. I know there was certain areas that was granted to Wooddale Bowling Alley. I believe that will be a Class E, B, W license, because obviously it's a 9 o'clock, and then a Class 0 license at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I have no problem passing this, but I'd like to know what classification these are, and if these are the right times. If you want to pass it here tonight, that's fine, but before council, I would like that to me. Your seat.
We can get that for you.
That's fine.
There's no problem. We can have that made up, and you can understand it.
That's
The
fine.
reason that we're doing this seriously is because of Thursday nights, people are open till 1 o'clock. And then people say, no, not Thursday nights. Thursday nights is 1 o'clock.
I have no,
read it wrong.
I have no,
What?
Maybe I can clarify. And that's the problem with the old ordinance. The old ordinance was written as the hours you cannot serve. This reverses it to hours you can serve. Due to creative interpretation of the old ordinance, people were staying open Thursday morning or Friday morning to 2 a.m. rather than closing down at
That's what
1.
I was gonna say.
So-
They were staying open later on to say they're on Friday time instead of Thursday's time.
Correct.
And we've gotta change that because that is one of the reasons why we're having this, change in the ordinance.
So the only thing this ordinance changes at present is that you cannot stay open Thursday night, Friday morning to 2 a.m. You would have to close at 1.
okay, but I'm sorry, Joe.
However,
I have no problem approving it here tonight, but again, I would like that, but as you know, tonight, we received a letter from Mayor Johnson as Oak Meadows is requesting to golf course start at 8 a.m. till 9 a.m. on Sunday morning leagues. They are requesting an early liquor license too. So I don't know if that will corresponds with this ordinance, because I believe it's 8 a.m. they want a liquor license. Am I correct, Mr. Mayor? I didn't have a chance to get.
That's correct. We, a couple of years ago, provided a change for Wooddale Bowling Alley so that they could have a Sunday morning league, and we extended their hours on Sunday morning. So pretty much the golf course is making the same request.
Right, but may I continue there, Mr.
Yes,
Coles?
you may.
I'm sorry, but I have a lot of concerns here on this. So more or less, this ordinance then would have to be revised again if you're throwing this 8 a.m. in there. And the reason is the bowling alley, I believe, the bowling alley was a 9 a.m. liquor license, and the problem is, and I asked the mayor to check into it, I also think they paid a little more money to have a liquor license in the morning on a Sunday. We have to check into that. So I have no problem passing this now, but let's consider changing the
Well, I believe
ordinance to,
amendment will be stated that when that comes up, because that has to come up on a vote anyway, on the change on the liquor license, to, that everybody knows that Maple Meadows will get a liquor license at 8 o'clock, plus it will play extra for that, just like the bowling alley does at 9 o'clock. But it'll come through the council
right,
in order to give it to them.
I understand that, but then we are still looking to change, vote on this ordinance. Are we going to amend the ordinance with this?
What we're trying to do right now is straighten out the ordinance that somebody has read it and read it wrong, has taken advantage of it. And that's what we're trying to do, right?
But, and I'm
The
not,
liquor license that the bowling alley has and the liquor license that will be a separate item. That's a separate thing. We had a vote on,
Right,
Wooddale Bowl in order to get that license through. He pays extra for that. So will Maple Meadows pay extra.
I understand that.
Which is I think it's an A license, isn't it? Most expensive. One is an A license? Yes, A license.
I understand that. But, and I, again, agree that we should pass ordinance, but my question is, if we going to adopt this ordinance, and I have no problem, but you better put this in the ordinance that this place has a liquor license if we approve at the council level at 8 AM. So why should we have our attorney draw up two ordinance, this one, pass this one, and come back and draw up another one?
We don't give it to everybody.
You still got to have it in
We
ordinance.
have
though.
special licenses.
I understand that.
We have special licenses that if an organization like VFW wants to sell liquor on a special day by their building over there, would they get a special permit to have a license to open up that morning? We do that all the time, and isn't that right, man? All right. I made the motion. Do we have, okay,
I just have two issues I'd like to see how we could resolve. One is, as you know, I'm an insurance agent. Everybody tells me I think like an insurance agent. There is no time zero. So in an insurance policy, 12 o'clock for midnight would be of the same day. So we have a couple of, at least one day that's, we got a 12 o'clock PM. So in insurance parlance, that means you're giving the guy a 1 hour time slot to sell liquor. Could we change it and to either 12:01 or specify the word noon, so that it is clear and distinct, instead of using 12 o'clock PM, which some people can interpret it as midnight. Certainly an insurance agent would on an insurance policy.
hey, Frank?
This is the format that's preferred by the Liquor Commission and the state, and this is the format we must follow. Just as there's insurance jargon, there's also legal municipal jargon, and this is their version of what is clear, and this is what the attorney advises. So we can't change it the other way unless we change everyone else in the state.
But you do agree that 12:00 PM is still part of the previous day?
It's a similar type of interpretation, which is the reason why we're changing this, because we've had this ordinance on the books for almost 10 years, and someone is looking at it a different way, and so we have to go back and clarify them all.
Then why not
But-
just say noon?
That is the preferred legal way. They set the actual time for liquor per the state.
But aren't we trying to clarify this so that people don't have different interpretations? And already I have a different interpretation based on legal precedent of every insurance policy sold for a car policy in this state?
Well, I certainly can't take issue with that. I can only defer it to the attorney for further clarification.
Let us do that. And the second thing is, can we have something written in there that twice a year, when we fall forward and spring back, or spring forward and fall back, that the clocks for the liquor licenses stay with the preceding day until until the liquor store is closed?
We can add that, Frank?
We've always allowed them traditionally to stay open that extra hour. That certainly could be closed if it's the desire of the entire council. But it's like that and it exists in most municipalities that way, and they just allow that extra hour. But that's,
Okay.
Well, then just put it in writing. We allow an extra hour on the 2 days of the year when we fall forward and spring back.
They usually know that. They usually know that. Monzo?
I just got one thing. I know Eugene already brought it up about the licenses and what they are. Like Class O, I mean, are some of these specifically beer and wine, some are just hard liquor? And as far as what are the fees for each of these licenses? Is there a different fee for each license?
Oh,
or
yes, everyone has got a different fee.
Are we gonna get a copy of that as well, so we know?
That's up to the
Or
commission,
is-
up to Frank. Frank?
yes, we could give you a copy. We did have the city attorney set this up, and we did have the clerk's office review it. And we can provide you with what each liquor license is as well. But as far as I know, and I'm not an attorney, everything should be in order, and the clerk double-checked everything as well. But we'll provide you with a definition of those various licenses for your review prior to the council meeting.
I made the motion, anybody second it? I second that. All right, in favor? Aye.
Opposed?
Passed. Items for consider in future meetings. Allied waste container. Oh, boy, that's a killer to me. Implementation of program. That means, how is the garbage containers going, Jeff?
Per previous council recommendation, it was noted that we should institute a voluntary program and give the $25 discount on the can if a resident wanted to purchase the can. And the current phase we're at now is